So we're going to start with the neck, and to set ourselves up, first we'll look at the body position. So you're just going to stand up tall, feel like your shoulder blades are on the back, your chest is broad, and then we find a little bit of tone or tension to the rest of the body so that everything is kind of squeezed to stay still, and we really drive the movement and the focus of our attention to the area we're working on, which will be the neck to start with. So making fists with your hands, feeling that tone in your arms, even in your glutes and your tummy. And then from there, drop your chin down to your chest. So I'm going to turn this way to show you to start with. And then from there, just slowly turn your head to your right shoulder, looking at the right shoulder. Start to drop your ear down to the right shoulder, lifting up the chin. And with control, start to circle the chin and take your head over to the left. The ear drops down to the left, rotate to look down at your left shoulder, and then take your chin back to center. So that's one way round. Opposite direction, turn to look at your left shoulder, rotating the head, ear drops down, chin lifts up, going all the way across to the right, rotating to look down at the right, and chin back to center. I'm going to show you sideways on this time. Turning all the way to one side, feeling the head rotate to the side, chin lift up, all the way back. Chin drops down, ear drops down, turn to look at the floor, head back to center. Head to the left, drop the chin, head to the left, looking at the left shoulder, start to feel the ear drop down, chin lift up. Take your head all the way across to the right, turning to look down at the right shoulder, and then head back to center. Let's do one more. Just noticing what you can feel in all the different positions. Just going slowly. Just driving all the movement in the joints of your neck spine. And then lifting your head back up. Okay, then we're going to move on to the spine. And for this one, the neck more or less stays out of it. Taking your hands across onto your shoulders. So we're not going to drop the chin this time, we keep the neck out of it. And we're thinking of the spine, the thoracic spine, so from the top of your shoulders all the way down to the base. So we're going to start again, just get set through parallel feet and start to round your upper back. And then start to feel the mid-back rounding and making sure you get right into the lower back rounding as well. And then from there, start to turn your trunk to the right. So you're turning all the way across. And then we're going to start to side bend. So your left shoulder is going to lift up, side bending, lifting up out of your lower back, lifting into the upper spine, the thoracic, all the way up. Take yourself all the way across to the left, a side bend to the left. And then your left shoulder drops down as you look towards the mat. And then curling yourself back to center and coming back up. Back in the opposite direction, upper back curls, mid back, lower back. Rotate your trunk to the left this time. Start to lift up as you side bend, the right shoulder lifting up. Lift up through your upper back, so we're not collapsing into the lower back or letting the hips sway forward, staying straight. Lifting up out of your spine, across to the right, rotating to turn down, and then back to center, and lift up. Okay, let's do a couple more like that. Rounding forward, rotating to the right, side bending, lifting up out of your lower back, trying to keep your hips over the heels as you reach up, reach up, reach up, all the way across to the other side. Rotate to face down, back to center, and then the other way, turning sideways, side bend and lift up through the upper spine, all the way across, rotating down and back to center, rolling all the way up. Okay, so that's the spine. The next part we're going to move on to is the shoulder blade, so those two flat bones on your back. So the first way we're going to do it is arms down by the sides, making fists with the hands again to create some tension through the arms. And then again, finding a little bit of squeezing in your glutes and feeling like your torso is a tree trunk. It's really solid and it's not going to move. So to help you do that, we're using toning and using the muscles all along the front side of the trunk as well. And then we're going to think of 4 points for the shoulder blades. First, they're going to move forward, protraction. They're going to lift up to your ears, elevation. Squeeze them back, giving yourself a bit of a double chin so the head doesn't try and pull forward. Retraction, and then pulling the shoulder blades down your back, depression. So they're the 4 parts. Let's do that again. Forward, protraction, squeezing up, elevation, squeezing back, keeping the trunk neutral, retraction, and pulling down, depression. So you're watching that the spine is not joining in the movement, everything's staying still, we're driving that movement into the upper back and those shoulder blades. Okay, let's just do one more like that. Taking your time to feel each part, and then let's go the opposite direction. So from depression and retraction, we squeeze up, squeeze forward, pull down, and pull back. Okay, we're going to do that another way that's a little bit more challenging, where we've got the arms out in front of us. And you can just hold your arms out in front of you. We're going to try it this time with holding a brick, so it becomes a closed chain movement, which can be quite supportive. You have something to kind of push your hands into, and it can help with the movement. So holding the brick in front of you, squeezing your glutes a bit, making that firm tree trunk with your torso, watching that the head is neutral, stacked over your shoulders, and then we're going to pull the brick forward. Squeeze up to your ears with your arms, keeping your elbows straight, retract your shoulder blades, pulling the brick towards you, and then pulling the shoulder blades down the back, keeping those elbows straight. And again, forward, up, squeezing back, and pulling down. You can go in the opposite direction. And then back the other way. Okay, let's do 2 more. Forward, up, squeezing back and pulling down. Forwards, up, squeezing back and pulling down. Okay, that's the shoulder blade. So now we're going to move to the arm joint, the ball and socket, the glenohumeral joint, of where the arm sits in the socket. We're going to work that joint. So we'll start again with our tree trunk, keeping everything firmed in, and take your right arm forward. We're going to use our left hand to hold the rib cage to help remind the body that it's not moving. We're going to keep the hips and the shoulders facing forward as we move the arm. We're driving that movement into the joint. So from here, the thumb's going to lead and reach your arm up. Up as high as you can, and then we're going to start to rotate from the shoulder joint, so the palm will face away from you, but the movement's coming from the shoulder joint, and then reach your arm behind you. Keep rolling it into internal rotation as you reach behind you, and then all the way down by your side. And then lift the arm up as high as you can behind you, and then start to spin your arm. External rotation, the palm will face the ceiling, reaching the arm all the way up and then back down in front. So just to say, as you lift your arm up, if at any point there's pain, discomfort in that top of the joint, that probably isn't the great position to go to yet. So you might find you need to change the shape of your movement and perhaps take your arm a bit more out to the side and still find that internal and external rotation with the arm forward, side and behind you. So you can modify it a little bit if that feels best. Otherwise we're going to do a couple more on this side. Thumb leading, Trying to stay facing forward, squeezing everything, reaching up. Rotate the arm, internal rotation as the arm reaches behind you. It keeps spinning in as you pull the arm all the way down. And then reaching that arm up as high as you can behind you, squeezing all the muscles around your shoulder. Palm faces the ceiling, reaching all the way up, and then lowering the hand down. Okay, let's do one more. And reaching back up. And then we'll do the second side, the left arm. The arm can go a little bit across to start with. Thumb points to the ceiling. We start with that setting of the body. Your shoulders and your hips are going to stay facing forward. Lots of muscular firming in the front body there. And then start to reach your arm up. Reaching up, reaching up. And then when you can't go up any higher, start to rotate. Internal rotation. The hand will spin away from you. Pull it in, the arm is still turning inwards, all the way down by your side, the palms facing outwards, and the arm is spinning inwards at this point. Reach the arm up as high as you can behind you, and then start to rotate to external rotation. The palm faces the ceiling, reaching your arm up, and then lowering down. Okay, and you may notice your body wants to try and help by arching as the arm goes back and coming down. So as much as possible, trying to keep the torso still. If you need to take your arm a little bit out to the side, then that's another way of managing it. Okay, let's do a couple more. Spinning inwards. Lifting up behind you, rotating to external rotation, reaching up and down at the front. Thumb leads the way, reaching up, rotating the palm away from you. From the shoulder socket, you keep spinning in all the way down, lifting all the way up. And you're trying to make this movement as slow and smooth and controlled as you can, and that will help to minimize the compensation or the other parts of the body joining in a bit. Okay, so that was the arm joint there. Now we're going to move on to the elbow joint. We'll do them one at a time, starting with the right elbow. Arm out to the side, palm facing forward. And have your elbow crease also facing in the direction of the palm. And just making sure your shoulder feels comfortable, it's set there. And then we're just going to pull the hand up to the shoulder. Okay, so you're trying not to let it go across or move anywhere else, straight up to the shoulder, and then from there start to turn from your elbow so that the palm faces outwards. And from there, start to lower your hand down, checking your elbow crease, which will still be pointing forward, and then from there, rotating at the elbow so that your palm faces back outwards. And then we'll repeat that, pulling all the way up to the shoulder. Rotate from the elbow, the palm turns outwards, lowering down, your elbow creases forward, so we want the movement to be from the elbow down, not the upper arm. And then rotating that way, out again. Let's do one more. Okay, and then the left side. Arm down by your side, just out from the hip. Start to draw that hand up towards your shoulder. Rotate the thumb towards your chest. The hand might go in towards the chest a bit, and then lowering down, watching that elbow crease is still facing forwards. Rotate the palm from that elbow crease, and then repeat. Lowering down. Okay, last one. Okay, so that's the elbow joint. Now we're going to move on to the wrists. But when we try and circle the wrist joint, what tends to happen is the forearm will join in and start to bend, and also the fingers try and help us out bending as well. So to drive the movement and get more movement out of our joint, we need to keep those two things as still as we can. So we'll start with the right arm. Hold your forearm with your left hand. So that's going to help you stabilize the forearm so it doesn't join in so much. And then from there, again, just setting your upper body, the shoulders are relaxed down, your elbow is kind of close to your side, and then we can focus on that wrist by dropping the fingers down towards the mat as much as we can, pulling the fingertips down, making as much of a right angle at the underside of that wrist as you can. And then from there, we're going to take the hand out to the side, without turning the forearm, which I'm already doing, turning the hand up towards you, fingers point to the ceiling, fingers go across to the other side, and then start to rotate back out so you're back where you started. Okay, let's go the other direction. Fingers go to the left, the palm turns up, doing a bit better this side, all the way across. That's when the forearm tries to join in, down and back to the starting point. So let's do that one more time on this side. Out to the side, rotate up, out to the side, rotate down. You might get a few clicks out of your wrist. Okay, if you're finding your fingers are bending and joining in all the time, you can try at making a fist, that works as well. So you're lowering down with your fist, going either direction. Just trying to keep the forearm still, and then one back the other way. I'm getting clicks here, so you can feel you kind of find movement and ranges that you don't tend to normally go to, and you get little clicks as you do that. Okay, give that hand a little shake, and we'll do the second side. So we'll start with the flat hand, just doing our best to keep the fingers flat, holding the forearm with your hand, and then lowering the fingers down to the floor. Just pull, pull, pull as much as you can, get as much of an angle at that underside of the wrist as you can, and then we'll take the hand out to the side. Turn the fingers up towards you, over to the other side, and back down, and then back the other way. So for me, I'm pretty good at keeping the fingers straight. Forearm is a problem. Turning. So you need to go slow so that you really try and work into the parts that your wrist is not used to going to. Just taking your time to do that. Just feeling all the sensations you find in your wrist. Okay, so that's the wrists, and we're just going to do one more for the upper body, which is articulation of the spine. So you can do this in lots of positions. For today, we're going to do it standing up, just taking hands down to the knees. So we start with feeling a relatively neutral spine from the crown of the head to the tail. And then from there we're going to come into spinal flexion to start with. So we start right at the base, seeing if we can drive movement there and start to curl inwards. So I'm using the muscles at the front of my body for this portion and start to push my lower back outwards, and then start to see if I can shift to the vertebrae of the mid-back, and then bit by bit firming my tummy and shifting to the upper back vertebrae, flexing along the spine bit by bit. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then the last thing to happen is that the head will drop down. To extend the spine, we start by lifting the sit bones up. So the pelvis moves first, sit bones are lifting up. I'm using the muscles here along my spine to start to extend the spine the other way, vertebrae by vertebrae. So first I'm feeling my lower back, And then starting to go a bit more into the mid-back. And then into the upper back a little bit more. And extending forward. To go back the other way, starting from the pelvis again, you can give your glutes a bit of a squeeze, start to roll under. So going as slowly as you can, so we're trying to feel each vertebrae one after the other. And at first you might just have to fake it till you make it. So you're just trying to go as slowly as you can to give each part the chance to move as best as it can today. Moving all the way up. Starting with the sit bones again. Pelvis initiates the movement, and as we extend the spine, we're using the muscles along the back to help us drop the tummy, and then the lower ribs, and then the upper ribs down towards the mat, ending up looking forward. Okay. And then rolling under and standing your way up. Okay, give all those a go and let me know how that goes.